nothing worthwhile, the recognized symbol of excellence in crappy podcasting.
It is the Festival of Friendship, better known as Nothing Worthwhile. We are back. It has been a while. Guess who's going to WrestleMania again? And our Family Guy Top 5 on the East Coast. Representing the East Coast in the Sunshine State of Florida, it is Mr. Andrew Gruthius. Groo, it's been a while.
Hey now.
How the hell are you, my friend?
I'm doing fine. How about yourself?
Doing good. Doing good. We had a couple of weeks, had a little family thing, and then we actually took our first little trip to Sedona, Arizona, which is known for the Red Rock and very dog friendly. So we packed up.
Did you get
Braxton Moody?
Did you get a boner in Sedona?
No comment. I don't even know where he is. I think he's under. There he is. Braxton Moody, a.k.a. Puppy Shango. We took him. And,
Puppy Shango. I'll never
the hotel.
I'll never not like that.
Yeah. Well, the hotel was what we call puppy or dog friendly, and I've come to understand what dog friendly means in terms of hotels.
What does it mean?
Just an extra like $75.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
It's your friendly. It's your friendly contribution to the.
Yeah, like I thought they were like, oh, we love dogs, and they were very nice. You could bring your dog in the lobby, and everybody was nice, and they give them like a little treat. But basically, dog friendly means an extra like $50 to $75 for your time. So,
and that that's what it's like. That's what it's like when you give a pet deposit at a when you're moving into like an apartment complex. It's like it's your apartment. What are you paying? What deposit? You know,
right?
You can shit on you can shit on the floor just as easily as a dog can shit on the floor.
Well, what happened was, we took him hiking in the mountains of Sedona, and we went on a very easy trail. And this boy was just digging and loving life, and was just covered in red clay. So when we got back to the hotel, obviously we didn't want him to jump on the bed. So I go in the bathroom, and there's Marie in the shower. And I'm all right. Hey. And then there's Braxton in the shower.
Ooh.
I'm like, what? Yeah, and she showered.
Then you have like a Borat style brawl in the hotel. You and Braxton just beating the shit out of each other over Marie.
No, didn't have that, but he's very, very pampered pooch. Blow dried him out, and so.
And he sounds like he's got good taste too.
Yes, yes, he's definitely a pampered pooch. So we had a couple of days in Sedona. Just like you, we had our spring break. After that, I didn't do much, did a little bit of work, and laid around generally being non-productive. And that was it. How about yourself? You had spring break as well. Are you still on spring break? Or are you
technically, no. Yesterday was our last day, so Monday we go back in. Spring break, I believe the word would be, as you, non-productive. I really did. I didn't do much of anything, which is not how I plan it, but how I end up enjoying it. Like,
I was just gonna say, I don't know. I love being non-productive.
Yeah, I made so many like this week I'm gonna do this. This week I'm gonna clean this. I'm gonna do that. And then you wake up in the morning on spring break, and it's 87 degrees out. It's gorgeous, and all you want to do is just sit on your couch and watch reruns of The Big Bang Theory. And that's that's happiness.
Yeah. I want to go out.
Or extreme depression. I'm not sure. There's a very thin line between the two, but. Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, people say like, I'm retirement. I'm so bored. I'm like, I love being bored, but I'm not at retirement age quite just yet. inching ever so slightly closer, but maybe I'll feel different when it's actual time to.
Yeah,
to
I did. The limit of my productivity was I did catch up on a couple of TV shows.
Oh yeah, what do you?
I watched the entire.
Give us Andy Groo. What's Andy watching on streaming these days?
Well,
what do you
besides all the things that besides reruns of Dallas and Who's the Boss and all these,
Oh my God!
I did watch the series. Is it HBO Max? I forgot already, but The Flight Attendant.
That's
with
HBO
Kaylee
Max.
Cuoco, and it was good. It was a mystery. I like good mysteries. A little ridiculous, but she's incredible. She's my favorite. But I watched the first episode of The Mighty Ducks Game Changers.
I saw you made a
post.
Where is that on?
That's on Disney Plus.
I'll have to check
and
that out.
It's one episode at a time. So it came out yesterday. I watched it, and I loved it. I thought it was. Yeah. I thought it was great. I mean, it's exactly what you would expect it to be. Complete ham, and but it's glorious ham. it's kosher ham.
Comparatively, I watched on Disney Plus the first episode of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I heard about that too. I heard that was pretty good.
It was good. Comparatively, I liked it better than WandaVision. It's more shot in the straight up Marvel superhero action movie style.
Right.
So anyway,
and I did try. I did watch. I started the. It's a 5-day affair to watch the Justice League, the new Justice League. So I got through an hour of that. I've got 3 to go.
Yeah. You want my thoughts on it?
Sure.
You sound so excited.
No. Because I haven't seen it yet, but I haven't finished it yet. But
no, I won't give it away. I mean, we know the ending of the movie, obviously.
I'm gonna guess that you didn't like it. Most people don't. I haven't heard good things.
Comparatively, it's a better movie. There's a lot more exposition, a lot more backstory that ties you into the characters a little bit more emotionally. But and you're a big movie guy, and perhaps we may have discussed this, but I've coming to Zack Snyder shoots his movies the same damn way. He's like Michael Bay, slow motion, insert dramatic music where it really doesn't need to be. I find it to be just. There were some scenes where I was like, really? I mean, are we really doing this? Mm-hmm. And I wanted to be wowed, and I just wasn't. It's better than Justice League. Maybe, as I said to you on this prior calls, that's not saying much.
Yeah.
Because Justice League the Josh Whedon was just. It was very surface level, very hammy. Not a lot there. It wasn't terrible either, but I didn't hate it. But I didn't love it like I love some of the Marvel stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. Zack Snyder, all the movies have that same look, same feel, and that's what I thought about it.
Yeah, but I watched the first hour of it, and just even in the very beginning, it's all this imagery. I'm like, just tell the story.
That's what I'm saying. Zack Snyder,
it's just like you're seeing people screaming and yelling and rah, like and this is the only thing I'll say, and then we'll move on to what we're here for. But these, with the superhero movies, they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and we're forgetting why they're superheroes. They're superheroes because they're extraordinary people in an ordinary world. These worlds are not even close to being ordinary. Like just look at Gotham City and Metropolis and Zack Snyder's thing. I mean, like that doesn't look like any that doesn't look like any Earth that I've ever seen.
Well, look, Justice League. It does. It's even the 4 hour. It doesn't go into depth. Obviously, like with Gotham, that perhaps a standalone Batman movie would, but just the fact that you watched an hour, you may say because of time constraints, I agree, the slow motion, the music, I mean,
yeah, just
I
tell
did
a
enjoy
story
it because it does give a lot. It does give a lot more background, and so I felt a little bit more emotionally invested. And I will say, I thought the movie got better as it progressed. Towards the end of the movie, you're getting those real cool action sequences, and I felt like it hit its stride a little bit more. But and I thought the epilogue at the end, you'll find interesting. The post-credit scenes,
right?
But that's what I'll say about that, and I'll wrap it up from there.
Okay, like I said, I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to finish it.
Well, Andrew, you're going to give it a shot in a couple of weeks as the band. We are getting back together again.
Yes.
We will be reuniting face-to-face as Moody and Groo will be heading to see WrestleMania 37 live in Tampa Bay, Florida for what we'll call a fourth year in a row. Andrew, WrestleMania 37 is broken up into 2 nights. First, before we get into a taste of the card, any thoughts on the two-night mega WrestleMart that is WrestleMania? 2 nights, not one, but 2 nights. Any thoughts on that?
It's well, they did it for the first time last year, technically, when they when it was virtual or just on TV, no fans. This time there's going to be fans. We will be included in that. We're going to both nights, so I'm hoping it's going to be spectacular. I think it'll give us, if they shorten each night. If we're there for 5-6 hours both nights, it's going to be a bit much. Yeah, we're going to be sitting there with IV drips. Like we're going to want COVID at that point.
That was a good one.
Yeah. So it's if they do it right, if they do the matches and it's a night of wrestling. And we don't have very good seats, but we'll enjoy it anyway.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. And they've been talking about. I remember sending you an article 5 or 6 years ago about WrestleMania. I sent you an article from that WWE was talking about it, quote unquote, internally. That one of these dirt sheet websites were talking about. I agree. If you give me 2.5 hours, give me 7 or 8, 6, 7 matches that are tightly wound, that are well produced. Well crafted. I'll be very, very happy with that. Groo, I'm going to give you a quick taste. I'm going to give you a couple of matches from each night. Give me your thoughts and give me who you think's going to win. Let's start off with Saturday night, April 10th, night 1. Right now, it's a singles match. Maybe it might be extended to a tag team. The Latin rapper, Bad Bunny versus The Miz. Groo, thoughts, and who do you got?
I think they're going to end up making it a tag match because there literally, if it's a singles match, any other finish other than The Miz leaving there with the belt from the Bad Bunny, is that what he's called?
That's Bad Bunny. Yes.
Yeah. If it's a singles match and Miz doesn't win the title from him, then The Miz might as well just leave, because that to me is like the WWE saying we're done with you, and I don't think The Miz is even close to being done. So that's why I think that it'll end up being a tag match. So then when it's a tag match with people who aren't really a tag team, the outcome really doesn't matter at all. So
okay.
So I think if it's a tag match, the Bunnies team will win.
Yeah. Here's what I wrote. Damian Priest will play the muscle for one Mr. Bunny, while I'm sure John Morrison will be in Miz's corner. Let's just suppose it's a singles match. Groo, I'm a huge fan of The Miz, and he is a supremely talented guy. But look, you got to come to grips with it. The Miz is seen at best in the WWE as a comedic mid-carder. He's a guy that may fill in as a transitional champ. I love the guy, but this latest 2-week run as champ, it showed it out to me. So the WWE, I agree with you. There's no plausible, a guy who's a rapper. I've read he's trained hard. He's taking it seriously. I've never heard of him, but I believe, he's a pretty popular rapper right now on radio. I don't see any other thing where they're going to somehow give Bad Bunny that that celebrity win. And I hate to say it, but I think it's going to go the way of the Bunny.
If it's a singles match, I'm going to hold. For those of you who can't see, Evan is doing a little bunny hop on his. But I'm going to hold out hope that that goodness will prevail. If it's a singles match, I'm going to give it to The Miz because picture yourself in that creative room. It's like, you're talking to your Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon talking to each other. It's like, all right, what do we have to gain from a Bad Bunny clean win over Miz versus what do we have to lose? Yeah, go ahead.
Let me interject. Okay. Fuck it. Let's just go with the conversation.
Interject. I want to hear what you said.
No. What I'm saying to you is, forget clean win. What could the WWE? Forget logic, because logic doesn't apply a lot of times in the WWE, and even pro wrestling as a greater entity. I mean, what could the WWE? What might they be looking to gain with Bad Bunny, who won a Grammy? Was just on SNL. It's not music for you and I. I can't claim to know one song by him, but I've heard the name. What are they hoping to garner by a Bad Bunny winning a match at WrestleMania? I could tell you. I mean, the answer.
But I think that if they believe that will get them more revenue and more viewers, history should tell us that it doesn't work that way. Because the wrestling fan is a different kind of. Now I know today it's a little different. They might get some quick headlines, and they might get a boost in viewership that might last a couple weeks. But any longer than that, you got David Arquette, you got Master P, you got all these things that the WWE looked at as a joke. When the WCW was doing it. And now they're kind of doing it themselves. Think about this. You're a wrestler, let's say, I don't know, let's say an Otis or some of these guys have been working their ass off. Let's say you're AJ Styles. Okay?
Go ahead.
AJ Styles is in a patchwork tag team match at WrestleMania.
Yes, he is. We're not going to discuss it, but
right.
Go ahead.
He's been busting his ass for his entire career.
Go ahead.
And he can't get a singles match at WrestleMania, but the Bad Bunny can. Like, this is, to me, it's a slap in the face of a lot of professional wrestlers who are in the WWE. Like, here you're giving these guys fight and claw and scratch to get a shot at the show of shows. And here, this guy shows up a couple times, does some stupid shit, and all of a sudden he's a headliner at WrestleMania. I don't like it.
All right, so if I'm AJ Styles, first of all, I'm hoping AJ Styles is not, Bret the Hitman Hart, who takes everything home with him and took his character way too seriously. If you want to reference AJ, he's had a tremendous number of big-time matches at Mania, and we know that these things cycle in and cycle out. I'm sure at the end of the day, if I'm AJ Styles, I'm a professional. I don't disagree that it, I don't know if people see it as a slap, but I'm sure you're going to look at the card and go, I would feel slightly irked. But I'm a professional. Look, as long as I'm getting paid, and in the spot that I'm going, am I going to give it 100% even in a patchwork tag team match? Then I could look at myself in the mirror. WWE is a major entity. There's only so many spots. Maybe AJ next year, will get him another major match. He's had some big-time matches early in his run with the WWE. I don't want to get into an AJ tilt, but I guess that's I guess that's how I would rationalize it if I'm AJ Styles.
What about a guy like Cesaro or Robert Roode or these guys who are probably going to be relegated to the pre-show.
Well, if you want, apparently Roode is with this Dirty Dogs team with Ziggler, and they're going to have they're going to tag up against the Street Profits for the title.
No way, that's on the actual show. I will bet money that's on the pre-show.
You want to bet? Because we got 2 nights now. We got 2 nights to fill. I'll bet you, just a fun bet. And then the other thing I read was Cesaro just signed a big-time contract with them. He's going to be with them for a while. I think he's going to wrestle Rollins on one of the 2 nights on the show. So, look. I'm
going to. All right.
Let's get to the next match.
Okay.
SmackDown Women's Champion Night 1, Saturday night, the 10th. Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair. Andrew, thoughts, and who do you got?
Sasha Banks is going to win that one.
Okay, are you throwing it to me, or do you want to have?
Yeah,
any
I'm
other
throwing it
thoughts
to
on
you. Because
Okay.
I never have much to say about those.
Now, come on, take it seriously.
I don't have much to say about like
A guy who's so liberal and so I find it funny
but
that you
doesn't.
don't.
But that doesn't mean I enjoy it.
Okay.
Like,
well, I appreciate.
Am I a
the
misogynist?
women.
Absolutely.
Come on, I don't believe that to be true. What I will say is, look, when I watch a female tennis match versus the male, I have a different set of expectations and maybe a slightly different enjoyment. I prefer women's tennis over men because the women, you could actually see the ball; they don't hit it. It's like there's more of a strategy. So I do enjoy the women. Here's what I'll say about it, and then you tell me what you think.
Okay.
It's a great match on paper. I think both ladies are extremely talented. The WWE has transitioned Sasha Banks, the champ, into the role of heel here. Sasha has carried the SmackDown women's division on her back with Bayley over the past year plus. It will be Bianca's time soon, but just not here. I agree with you, Groo.
Okay.
I score one for the boss. Any thoughts on what I just said?
Yeah, I agree with you, and I can't go any further than that because everything you said. No. Everything you said, like Sasha Banks, really it feels like she's been building up towards this whole thing. But with the women, I've told you why I feel this way because when you watch them. It's less brawling and more, like ballet-style theatrics, and it kind of looks more staged than it does when the guys do it. And I'm just, I like the punches and the
all right, but
the fighting, not the.
You're broadcasting a podcast. I wanted to give, I am asking you your thoughts. So,
yeah.
All right, look, let's go to the main event, night one, and it's a big one. The champ, WWE champ, Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre. Groo, your thoughts, and who do you got?
Yeah, this is actually a good feud that's been building up. I'm a little disappointed that the Miz came in, did something, and now he's like completely out of the feud. Did
you really think that the Miz was going to make?
I was hoping that there was a reason that there was a good reason that they were doing what they were doing. But in any case, this is a good feud. This is how you build up a WrestleMania feud. It started a couple months ago. It's still going. It's building every week. I think that Drew McIntyre will leave night one with the title with a clean win over Bobby Lashley.
Andrew, here's what I got on paper. Really looking forward to this one.
Me too.
Agree on that. It should be a hard-hitting affair with two big, guys who just, they've sort of both talked about not giving up on their dreams. I like that. They're in their early 40s. They've been in the business for a long time. They've overcome. Drew was positioned after the Goldberg victory to perhaps have a long run at the top, but the company transitioned with the Lashley Championship after he beat The Miz. I like MVP as Lashley's incredible mouthpiece. The Hurt Business is a tough, legitimate wrestling faction. I love Drew, but I love Bobby Lashley here just a bit more. I don't know why, but I feel like keeping the belt on Lashley for now. I love both guys, and I love Drew.
Yeah.
I really liked how they positioned him and positioned Roman on the other side. We'll talk about Roman in a little bit. So I don't have any feeling here, except I just feel like you put it on Lashley. I think Drew will end up with the championship at some point, maybe SummerSlam, maybe down the line. But I like Lashley just a hint bit more. I'm going to go with Lashley on this one.
All right. We got our first disagreement.
All right, good. Keep notes. Let's go to night 2, Andrew. Sunday, April 11th. Let's go to Andrew, a returning Fiend Bray Wyatt versus Randall Orton. Andrew, what are your thoughts, and who do you got?
My thoughts are I'm not a fan of how they're doing this because I think the Fiend is doing it. I think they're doing it with the wrong guy. Like Orton to me is a non-seller.
Oh, come on!
He's just
You're so disrespecting Randy. You're so disrespecting Randy Orton's work.
I want in the ring. He's great.
Andrew, can I interject? Can I ask you a question?
Sure, please go ahead.
I know you and I are not the massive fans, even though we're going to Mania, that we were in our youth. But have you not watched Raw? This guy, since WrestleMania, since that match with Edge, he's been positioned in every major storyline. I mean, the guy has had he's had great runs, but I would consider this, even in this down era of WWE, a great run with Randy Orton. He's been near at the top and on TV for the past 2 years.
Yeah, but so have people like Roman Reigns, who have not, and at least they're finally trying to evolve a guy like that. But Randy Orton hasn't really evolved. He's still the Viper, the assassin, whatever they call him. Like, to me, the character is boring. The wrestler is excellent. The character is boring. And but with that being said, he's definitely going to win, because the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, I can't remember the last time Bray Wyatt won a match. Like he seems to be the most headlining enhancement talent I've ever seen. So I think Randy Orton will win.
Here's my thoughts, Andrew. Since Orton set the Fiend on fire, Alexa Bliss has repeatedly made Orton's life miserable. All the while, Alexa has promised that the Fiend would be reborn. That finally happened at Fastlane. Amazon off.
That was you.
Oh, my God. How do I turn this off? What do I have to say?
Just say no. You say
Alexa off.
Alexa off. Now my Alexa's going to go.
Oh God! All right, so I will not say that. I will say Bliss.
No, you can. I can't.
Well, look. Now I'm completely shook. But
speaking of Alexa Bliss, what a great
we had a burned up Fiend return to help Bliss beat Orton. Here's the question, Andrew: is it going to be a normal match or a return to some kind of cinematic approach or gimmick match, in which many of the Fiend's matches have been over the past couple of years? I'm expecting, like you, probably something out of the ordinary. They're not going to do a traditional match. Here's what I've said. Maybe you'll disagree. Orton has been the Cal Ripken of WWE over the past 2 years. Very consistent. Hate him or love him, he's always delivered. Here's what I say. I disagree with you. Randy doesn't need the win. They've sort of positioned the Fiend as that lovable monster, and he's had some stop and start booking over the past year or two. So I'm going to give the nod to the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, on this one.
I hope you're right. I just don't think you are.
Okay. Appreciate your comments. Let's move on. Raw women's match. You got the champ Asuka versus the recent NXT call-up Rhea Ripley. I don't know if you have a lot of thoughts, but at least give me who you think is going to win at Mania.
I think this is Asuka's turn to finally get hers. She's been kind of bouncing around over the last couple of years. She had the thing with was it Charlotte who beat her? It was her first loss ever.
Yes.
Yeah. So
come on,
since
we were
then,
at Mania.
Yeah.
That was a good match.
Yeah, it was also a 9-hour card. So
no, New Orleans, New York was terrible.
That's true.
It was an overall experience. I think, real quick, over all of our years, I think New Orleans has been my favorite city and experience for Mania.
Yeah.
We had a good time there.
Yes, we did. I think this is Asuka's turn. She's never really had her moment. Rhea Ripley will get hers. She's just been called up. Asuka's been there a couple of years. I think this is Asuka's time.
Okay. You critique, the women, so to speak. I will critique this one because I don't like the booking here.
Okay.
Charlotte goes out with a quote-unquote COVID diagnosis. She's out of the picture. I'm reading perhaps they'll insert her into SmackDown. I really don't even want that. So, this was completely rushed. Asuka beats Peyton Royce on Raw. Peyton Royce, who's they positioned before, maybe on the come up. And then Rhea comes out with her call up and demands a title match. Who are you? You haven't been on Raw in forever, and they give her a title match. And I am an Asuka mark. I really love her. She has been the workhorse on the Raw side. She's been the most consistent, best female wrestler here. But that means nothing to WWE Creative. And I feel like Rhea had her match and lay down, so to speak, for Charlotte. I don't think it's happening here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Rhea is going to get the shine here. And you're going to have a new women's champ on my notes, even to my dismay, because I do love Asuka. I don't see her winning here.
All right, we are disagreeing on most of these. That's good. That's going to be fun.
Well, this will be good. Last match to cover, night 2, your main event. It's official. It's a 3-way. Ooga.
Hey now.
Roman Reigns, your champ, versus Edge versus Daniel Bryan. I'm actually interested to hear Andy's thoughts. And who does he got?
We'll be halfway down the Florida Turnpike by the time this match goes.
Come on.
I'm annoyed.
Come on.
I'm annoyed that what we knew was going to happen actually happened. You're going to main event WrestleMania with a triple threat match, which is a cop out to just make. That means Roman's not winning. But he won't be pinned either. Okay.
Well, then who do you got?
Then it'll be Edge. It's Edge is going to pin Daniel Bryan for the win. That's what that whole thing was about on last night on SmackDown. It was basically setting up the heat between Edge and Bryan. So I think they're going to give Edge one more little run with the championship, which I think is a great idea. I just you're not giving him much to work with by just having him win a triple threat match against Daniel Bryan, which I think is exactly what's going to happen. The way to really put somebody over would be to have it a one-on-one between him and Roman and have him beat Roman cleanly. But that's not happening, and so this match already lost a lot of my interest. We'll see how they build it up over the next few weeks. So yeah, Edge is my call. Edge is my call.
Here's what I wrote. I did put, maybe you'll probably, I don't know if you'll agree or disagree. I wrote, basically what a difference the year makes. Edge comes back, Royal Rumble 2020, major pop. His run with Randy Orton was fairly epic. He gets hurt, and then I just feel like he dissipated a little bit. He came back, and all of a sudden on SmackDown, Daniel Bryan's getting some love from the WWE Universe. But I say, I disagree with you. All is moot, because I don't see anything stopping the Heyman-Roman Reigns Express. Roman has been recast as this dour, demanding head of the wrestling Samoan dynasty. And all in all, I've enjoyed that storyline. You're booking Roman. Maybe, I know that they've gotten heat with Edge, but I see Roman as your mega heel champ. And I just say keep the belt on him until it really means something. I don't disagree that Edge is, will get some kind of veteran championship run, but I don't see it happening at the expense of Roman Reigns. I really would love to see an old school championship run. I'd like to see a 2-year. I'd like to see a 3-year. I don't know if we're going to get it with Roman. I think Roman's the perfect guy right now and the perfect character with the perfect manager to get that. And I hear you. I don't like 3-way, especially at WrestleMania, especially in main events, but Daniel Bryan is so good that I'll accept it. So I'll disagree with you. I say Roman Reigns leaves WrestleMania as champ. How about that?
All right. Interesting. So we got 6 matches over 2 nights.
Well, I didn't put every single match. I tried to put what we think would be interesting.
Are they? God, 2 nights.
I didn't put the AJ Styles tag match and
right.
I think what they could have gotten was if they didn't insert Daniel Bryan. I think I've said to you they could have got perhaps a really great mid-card match with Daniel Bryan versus Jey Uso, with 2 guys who could fly around the ring.
Why?
They could have gotten.
Why not
they
that?
They could have gotten like a Steamboat Savage type, steal the show. But look, I hear what you're saying. If there's going to be a guy inserted into it to make it a 3-way,
yeah,
I don't. I have less problem with Daniel Bryan than maybe perhaps another wrestler.
Oh, I agree with that. I just said that I just figured they had something really good going, and to me they kind of hurt it. But let's see where it goes over the next couple weeks. But the good news is the good news is that they announced who's hosting WrestleMania.
Oh, come on.
I knew it.
Come on.
I knew
it's
it.
a bunch of crap. Here's my thoughts.
Of course it is. Of course it is. But I love it anyway.
First of all, WrestleMania doesn't need a host.
Exactly.
Number one. Number two, I'm annoyed at every level. I don't think Hulk Hogan really moves the meter anymore. I know that'll offend the Gruthius family, who are lifelong Hulk Hogan marks.
Yeah.
And then you're putting Titus in there. Titus is a talented guy. As no disrespect to anyone, but Titus was inserted into that to defray any criticism for the Hulk Hogan racism thing.
Absolutely.
So the whole thing is bullcrap. I'd sooner just have Hulk Hogan or Titus O'Neil, one or the other.
Now let me ask you a question, because I thought of this, because yes, it is bullcrap. But I'm happy about it because, of course, I'm a Hulk Hogan mark, as you know. And you know what'll happen. He'll make an appearance at the beginning of the show each night, and then he'll be gone. That's what the host does. What if they were to change hosting? See, I think if they're going to have hosts, the hosts should be like the ring announcers. They should really be the hosts. If you're going to have Hogan and Titus, okay, have Hogan do night 1 and Titus do night 2, or whatever. Have them actually host the show. No?
No, I don't like that, because when you do get that classic moment and you watch it on the network on Peacock, I just like that iconic call from a professional ring announcer. These
guys aren't pros.
So, come on, stop it, Andy.
They're terrible.
Stop it. Come on.
They're terrible.
No, come on. Listen.
I don't like them.
Don't shit on it all the way. I want to go and enjoy it and feel like I don't want you to. I feel like you're going and you're going to be like, it's going to suck.
Isn't that how we go to every Billy Joel concert?
Well, that is true.
No, it's not even. It's not that, because part of we look when you go to a wrestling thing. Okay, this was true 30 years ago. Many you're gonna love, and much of it you're gonna hate. Like you boo, you cheer. And there are gonna be things that you don't want to see.
Look, would I like to see the host be more interwoven into the fabric of the night of the show? Yes. Backstage segments, maybe they're on the maybe they sit down with the broadcasters and do a color call on one match. That I wouldn't mind. Being the ring announcer, no, because I like that professional ring announcer call before the match.
Okay.
I do. If you're going to go that route, I'd sooner pick Ric Flair, who's got a major social media presence, who might spice it up and say something a little bit naughty, something like that,
Hey, hopefully maybe Hogan will get drunk and say something a little bit naughty, too.
No, go like some crazy hot chick, or something like reality.
I'd like to see more interaction with the crowd from the host. If it's such a big deal, make it a big deal. But they don't.
All right, look, we got a lot to cover. Are you ready to move on to the next segment? You ready to do the week that was?
Well, were we going to talk about the WrestleCon?
Oh shoot! Go ahead. Okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
We were going to talk briefly about the wrestlers who are appearing at this year's abbreviated WrestleCon.
60 minutes and we haven't even touched.
I'll just go through them really fast. For those of you who don't know, Evan and I usually go to this thing called WrestleCon, which is basically like Comic-Con but with professional wrestlers, where they all sit around at their own booths, and you go up and you pay like $15 to get in, and then you go around to these booths and choose the people you want to take pictures with or have them sign autographs, and each of them costs money.
Groo, as I could add, sitting in the booth, smoky talk, man. By the way, I always remember this. We got online for Scott Hall, and I was in front of you. I went to greet Scott Hall first, and you remember he went to the bathroom, and then I shook hands.
Yeah.
Afterwards, and I'm like, I hope he washed his hands.
I remember that vividly. Yes.
Well, I thought it was funny. Anyway.
No, I remember it vividly. It was
wearing that red sequin jacket. I'm like, you look like he was ready to go out to like a gay ar afterwards.
We have the picture.
All right.
So here are the
rundown.
Here are the currently scheduled wrestlers to be at Comic-Con. Ricky Steamboat, the Steiner brothers, Scott Hall, Haku, Gail Kim, Kevin Nash, Brutus Beefcake.
Go slow.
Okay.
I want to give me my reaction.
All right. Kevin Nash.
Done it.
Brutus Beefcake.
Nah.
Al Snow.
Nah.
Enzo. We could have fun with Enzo.
Yeah, I'm not. He's a big mouth, social media whore. Not interested.
Hacksaw Duggan, which we did.
Like it, but we done it.
Jake Roberts, which we've done. Like it.
Yep.
Christian, who I would love to confront about.
It went to AEW. Pissed me off.
Yeah, me too. And he was our favorite. Dean Malenko.
Man of 1,000 holds.
Yeah.
I like him as a wrestler. He's probably not that interesting to meet.
Right. Magnum TA.
Now that's somebody I would be if we wouldn't be on my top level, but he's certainly a great nostalgia pick.
How about this one? Not Nick, not Linda, not Hulk, but Brooke Hogan.
Oh, that might be fun to take a picture with her. She is cute.
Jerry Lawler.
Maybe.
Arn Anderson.
He went to AEW and he's just bashing the WWE.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd be interested.
Lex Luger.
Yes, interested.
Sergeant Slaughter, which technically we've done.
I've met him. Yeah, I like Sarge, but
wait, we have the picture of us with him together at the golf tournament. Remember?
Yes.
Ted DiBiase, who we did last year or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And Ron Simmons.
Ooh, now Ron Simmons.
So this list will probably grow, but I checked off my three top of that list, and here they are.
Give me your top three.
Here they are.
Give me your top three, and I'll give you my thoughts.
Okay, the number 3 of the top 3 is Ron Simmons. Number 2 of the top 3 is Lex Luger.
Like it a lot, but I like Simmons a nod more.
And number 1 by leaps and bounds and all in between is Ricky Steamboat. That's my number 1 from that list.
Yeah, I probably would. I guess. Can I say it overall? It doesn't sound like a strong class.
Well, it's not. It's not. At least not yet. It's much smaller because of the COVID thing. It also seems to be devoid of anybody who's currently working for the WWE, with I guess the exception of Jerry Lawler or Sergeant Slaughter. But I remember even when we went a couple years ago, there were active WWE competitors who were there, I think. But it might grow. But I'm just this is what it is at the moment.
You know what might grow? If I take a picture with Gail Kim, something might grow. Anyway, all right, yeah. Look, we'll do it, and we'll have some fun with it. So, looking forward to it.
Yes.
All right. You ready? You want to get to it?
Yes.
Let me talk it up. Let's get to it, Andrew. It's 5 things that we are talking about this week. It's nothing worthwhile. The week that was.
Nothing worthwhile. The week that was.
The Week That Was is brought to you by New You Life Center, recently named by Phoenix Entrepreneur Magazine as a top 15 med spa to watch in 2021. Get to know the lovely and talented Marie Verdugo and Dr. Cynthia at www.newyoulifecenters.com, NUYOU, or give them a call at 602-274-0068. Tell them Moody and Groo sent ya and receive a big 15% off your first service. We want to thank Marie and Dr. Cynthia. A big thank you to New You Life Center. Groo, call it equal opportunity laughter, but Louis Anderson did not appear in the 1988 Coming to America because Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall were dying to share the screen with him. The two of them revealed on Jimmy Kimmel Live to promote their sequel, Coming to America. I loved Louis, but I think we were forced to put Louis in it, Hall told the host. We were forced to put in a white person. Murphy agreed. The studio was like, there has to be a white person in the sequel. I was like, what? So who was the funniest white guy around? We knew that Louis was cool, so that's how we got Louis into the movie. Louis has maintained that he did a little something to grease the wheels of casting back in the 80s while dining at the Ivy, a Beverly Hills hotspot for celebs. Anderson spotted Murphy and his entourage. He told the waiter to put Murphy and his company's tab on his credit card. But as Anderson recounted to Sway in the Morning, the satellite radio crew in 2017, he instructed the waiter, "Don't tell him after I leave. I'm not doing it to be a big shot. I'm doing it because I'm from the Midwest and I am a huge fan." The next morning, Anderson received a call from Murphy. He not only offered thanks for the gesture, nobody ever bought me anything, Murphy told Anderson, but also he said he wanted to cast Anderson in a little movie called Coming to America. That didn't happen, but Anderson said, "That's life, isn't it? It was the best $660 I ever spent." Groo, thoughts on the Louis Anderson casting on the sequel Coming to America, as apparently a white guy had to be inserted into the movie.
Wait, Louis was in Coming to America. He was.
I totally fucked up this whole segment. So I mean, all right, edit it out.
What do you mean?
Well, he was in the he was in the sequel, right?
He was in both of them.
All right, well then I guess I completely misunderstood.
You thought that he wasn't in the first one?
Yeah, but he
was same role.
Same role. Fuck it. All right, let's get fucked.
Well, we're gonna have to talk about coming to America at some point, but not today. I have too much to say.
Did you like the movie?
No.
Yeah, I liked it. I didn't love it.
And I don't like that I didn't like it. But I have a lot to say. We'll save it for another time. But yeah, Louis was in Louis. I remember that controversy. You know, they're really. If you watch Coming to America, like I think literally the two other only white people in the movie are the Duke brothers.
Yeah.
What's the guy? The cab driver, Body by Jake, whatever his name is.
Right.
But I remember that was like a thing.
But Louis Anderson was briefly in the sequel. Is that correct?
He was in the sequel probably just about as much as he was in the original.
Yeah, he was in like when they go to McDowell's.
Yeah,
right?
that's what he was in the first one. He was the McDowell's employee.
All right. Well, anyway, all right. Edit this whole piece out.
No, it's staying in. It's staying in.
Louis Anderson, the funniest white guy in America, according to Eddie Murphy. All right. Groo, let's move on. I'll finally be there for you. The much-delayed and anticipated Friends reunion on HBO Max will finally be taped in a little over a month, according to cast member David Schwimmer. The 54-year-old actor who played nerdy paleontologist Ross Geller on NBC's 1994 to 2004 sitcom revealed his updated plans Wednesday during an interview with SiriusXM host Andy Cohen. When asked about where things stand on the project, Schwimmer spilled the beans. "Oh, it's finally happening. Actually, in a little bit over a month, I'm heading to L.A." Friends stars Schwimmer, Jennifer Aniston, Courtney Cox, Lisa Kudrow, Matt LeBlanc, and Matthew Perry were initially expected to regroup for the special in time for the HBO Max launch in May of 2020. But again, with the outbreak of the coronavirus, filming was delayed and delayed again, and again. Groo, when the gang actually does get back together, don't expect them to be in character. In an interview with Variety last summer, Kudrow said she will not be Phoebe, and Aniston added, "I am not going to be Rachel, although I kind of am." Well, we'll sort of have a little fragments of them, not really, but yeah. In Wednesday's chat, Andy Cohen also asked about the rumor that daytime talker Ellen DeGeneres might host the reunion special. No, responded Schwimmer, and also added that Billy Crystal was also not in the running. Andy Cohen, while being interviewed, remarked, "Oh my God, I wish I was." Groo, thoughts on a Friends reunion in all places on HBO Max? Yanka.
Well, it's too bad that they're not going to I thought they were going to make it into an actual episode, but apparently they're not. And it's too bad because it would have been the first Friends episode I've ever seen. I have never seen an episode of Friends. So this is not...
Yeah.
But I probably would watch this because I kind of enjoy these behind-the-scenes like reunion type things, so I'll probably watch it just to see how much they... Because I like looking at them and listening to them gush over each other and realize how much they truly hate each other. It's fun to watch in that from that perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they ever articulated an episode. I think HBO Max, they did The Fresh Prince, which was really well done. And I agree with you. I've seen episodes of Friends, but I was not a big fan. I don't know. I felt like the show, it was like every person I grew up with in Oceanside. I wasn't a huge fan. So
yeah, this is not. This is something I'll watch when I get around to it. I really, not a major milestone in my my life.
All right, Andy.
But good for them.
Move on.
Good for them.
Right,
I'm glad they're making more money off characters that were invented 30 years ago.
All right, Andy. Let's move on.
Anyway, all right.
He doesn't read. Like, I pause and I'm like, all right, and he goes, hey, no, well, good for them. Adds another 6 minutes to the segment. I haven't eaten. I got to piss and shit, and anyway, listen to this one. This is hot. Rudy Giuliani's daughter has opened up about her love of threesomes, saying three-way sex has made her a better person in a piece for Vanity Fair called "A Unicorn's Tale." Three-way sex with couples has made me a better person. His Honor's daughter, Caroline Rose Giuliani, openly discussed her sexual escapades with other couples. The piece, which opens with the words, "I want to watch my boyfriend bend you over, Caroline." The 32-year-old daughter of Rudy Giuliani and Donna Hanover writes, "I had known sometime that I was at least bisexual, but had barely explored that side of my sexuality." Oh, let me unzip my sweatshirt a little bit. I know I wanted to experience new dynamics. After signing up for a dating site for unicorns, women who agree to have sex with couples, Caroline writes, "One woman I chatted with mentioned she was looking for someone to dominate her but be submissive to her boyfriend. After meeting the couple in a bar she describes in detailed literature, we went back to their place. At one point, Oliver and I had sex while Isabella watched actively. She was a cuck queen, which is a woman who enjoys role-playing humiliation this way. Many of the aspects of the encounter was pleasurable and fun." Caroline concluded that after this experience, she identifies as as pansexual. After admitting she had battled anxiety and depression for her entire life. Caroline is also a rebel in the Giuliani clan, having said that despite her father's role as attorney for Donald Trump, she has voted for President Biden. Clearly, Rudy Giuliani was not immediately available for comment.
No.
Groo, any thoughts on three-ways?
Yeah, I think three-ways are fabulous. And you know what? It's the first time that, in a long time, that I've been like, okay, Rudy, I like it, but it's not. But it's not Rudy, is it? It's Rudy. Are you sure this isn't the girl that Rudy was like making out with in the Borat movie?
No, it's his daughter.
I'm just look. This is this, to me, it's just.
Hold on, I just downloaded the Unicorn app to my phone.
This is to each their own. This is great. I mean, I think that's completely hot, just like you said. I think it's it's more embarrassment for Rudy Giuliani, who really doesn't really need help creating his own embarrassment. But in either case, hey, if you got it, flaunt it. Why not?
Hold on, I'm smelling my fingers.
He actually smelled his fingers, folks.
All right, let's move on, Andrew. Groo, you might be interested in this tidbit. Michael Keaton says he might be ready to don the Batsuit yet again, even if it's a couple of sizes bigger now. Keaton has been rumored to be reprising his role as Bruce Wayne Batman in the upcoming film The Flash, starring Ezra Miller as the title hero. He first played the Caped Crusader in 1989's Batman, and again in 1992's Batman Return. And while the actor vaguely confirmed the latest casting talks. He did not go so far as to guarantee he'll appear in the film. I'm going to see what happens here, he said. It's going to be kind of fun. We'll see what happens. Keaton added, I'm not being cute or coy. I'm just talking about it. I'll be just bullshitting you. Or if I talked about it, I'd be just bullshitting you. Keenan is currently doing press for the Oscar-nominated film in which he co-stars The Trial of the Chicago 7. The potential choice of DC Entertainment and Warner Brothers is confusing, considering Ben Affleck, who currently plays Batman, will also appear in director Andy Muschietti's The Flash movie. And of course, you have the new film, The Batman, starring Robert Pattinson as Bruce Wayne, which is set to hit the theaters in March 22nd, 2022. There were no similar crossover whispers at Marvel when it was reported that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire will join Tom Holland in Spider-Man 3, but Tom Holland has denied that any previous Spideys will go back into the spandex with him. Groo, thoughts on Michael Keaton possibly returning as some form of the Bat?
I love it. I'm a huge Michael Keaton fan, both as Batman and in everything else. Have been for a long time. That being said, I don't get what they're trying to do with all the, like all these iterations of the character existing in the same whatever. I mean, it's like I think I'm reading between the lines of what he's saying, and it sounds to me like he's saying, I'll come back if I'm Batman. Like, I don't know. It sounds to me like he's not too coy on the idea of him playing Batman in the same movie that two other people are playing Batman. I mean, it's unless they have some monster trick up their sleeve, it doesn't really make sense. But I would love to see Keaton back in that role. He's my favorite Batman.
Yeah, I don't. I think what's happening here, these movies are embracing this notion of this multiverse, which I'm not a huge fan of because it gets confusing as the viewer.
Yeah.
So perhaps I don't know either. Do I want to see? I mean, how old is Michael Keaton? I mean, come on. I mean.
I think they were talking about him playing an older Bruce Wayne. I don't know if he was actually supposed to play Batman. But look, who knows? But I love Michael Keaton, and I would love to see it.
All right,
I'd rather see him do another Beetlejuice. God. But
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Can we move on to the next topic?
Anytime you're ready.
All right, this one I was looking for a fifth one. See your thoughts. It's a little more on a serious issue. Houston, we have a problem, or she had a problem. Rosie O'Donnell is speaking out about the tortured relationship songstress Whitney Houston had with her sexuality. Whitney was troubled by, I think, the gay part of her life and didn't want it exposed. O'Donnell said on her podcast, Hot Takes and Deep Dives. O'Donnell, 59, claimed that the 6-time Grammy Award-winning powerhouse was conflicted by her conservative cultural values and her much storied bisexuality. It's hard in the black culture to accept gayness. It's culturally more difficult, I think, the openly gay actress said of Whitney Houston, who died in a drug-related accidental drowning at the Beverly Hills Hilton Hotel in February of 2012. O'Donnell recalled meeting Whitney and her purported girlfriend, Robin Crawford, at a party in New York. She said at the time it was understood that Crawford, who was called Whitney's personal assistant, was actually the megastar's partner. Robin Crawford, now age 60, confirmed her long-standing rumors of her hush-hush romance with the Saving All My Love for You singer in her 2019 memoir, A Song for You, My Life with Whitney Houston. In the book, she said that the pop diva ended their love affair to move forward as like friendly platonic gal pals when she signed a music deal with Arista Records in 1983. We know that Whitney Houston later married and divorced R&B musician bad boy Bobby Brown, who confessed that he knew his wife of 14 years was bisexual in his 2016 autobiography, Every Little Step, My Story. prior to her cocaine-linked death, Houston never confirmed, her sexuality. She never commented on it. If this is all true, kind of a sad story on the late great singer Whitney Houston. Andrew, I'm sure you'll give us your dour thoughts. A serious and sensitive Andrew Gruthius.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm basically pro Whitney here because number one, I don't understand what Rosie O'Donnell has to do with any of this. She's dead. I don't know. She's like bringing up things that are already on record. Now, if she's saying that she wants to do this because, she's talking about how Whitney Houston was afraid to come forward with certain things in today's society, I understand. But think back 30 years ago. You're Whitney Houston. You are the top pop star in the world. You're a movie star. You're doing all these things. Do you think that if you come out of the closet, you will lose some of that stature? 30 years ago?
I'm asking me?
If you're Whitney Houston and you're on top of the world as the singer and the movie star now with The Bodyguard and the other movies she was doing, I mean, she could do no wrong. Super respected everywhere. Now we're going back 30 years, very different culture. Okay? If you come out of the closet, are you going to lose fans?
I agree with your point, and I agree with your point that perhaps, the Whitney Houston camp or the Whitney Houston estate may not want to be back in the headlines, and certainly back in the headlines for this. I don't think Rosie was trying to do a bad thing per se. I think she's just talking about. The article does go on to sort of intimate that the two were friends. She had appeared on Rosie's talk show many times. And so I think Rosie was just trying to give a picture of what Whitney was going through in the heights of her career. Maybe she went through they had kids, so I know the marriage to Bobby Brown was a very troubled one. And, the inclination is that he introduced her to drugs, and there was a documentary on Showtime that was really good on her life.
I saw
it's
it.
Been a while since.
Yeah. Everything you just mentioned has already been covered. Like, why is Rosie?
Okay.
No. I'm not saying that as a knock to you. I'm saying it's a knock to Rosie O'Donnell. Like, we know Whitney was effed up. We know she had a lot of bad shit going on in her head. We know all that. Okay. Her bisexuality wasn't one of them. That's perfectly fine, but it's definitely something that she probably struggled with. Okay, but she died from a drug overdose. All right, well-adjusted people who have no problems don't die of drug overdoses.
Good point.
I mean, look, that could be a controversial statement, but
I think that's a fair point.
But so Rosie's saying, like, yes, we know all this. What have you got that we don't know? So I don't get what Rosie, and I like Rosie O'Donnell, but I don't. It seems like she's trying to open up things that don't need to be opened right now.
I would say, I have nothing against Rosie O'Donnell, but I never found her to be funny. I never really watched her talk show. It's just
Yeah, but either way, it seems pointless. I'm not sure what she's going for. You want to let us know how tough Whitney had it? We know. We've known for a while. So.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go slit my wrists and
and take a bath.
We end on that note. Well, Groo, let's move on. Let us scale back to our last podcast. It was the Chicago breakup. Peter Cetera leaves the band. It was a fun trip down horn-infused light FM territory as we discussed the following. The Chicago Transit Authority. Chicago dominates the 70s. The death of legendary guitarist Terry Kath. The 80s hits and Chicago transitioned into a new sound. David Foster, Chicago 16 and 17. Cetera leaves, but why? Chicago moves on. 2016 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and Cetera still refuses to join the band. 2019 documentary that still brings up hard feelings. Excuse me, listeners did chime in with some comments all of which based around your comments regarding the boss Bruce Springsteen's DWI arrest. So, Groo, let's get to it. It is time for viewer mail.
Letters, we got your letters. We got your letters every day. Mailman ding dong, give me a letter today.
Literally 120 minutes into the show, and Nothing Worthwhile Viewer Mail is sponsored by New You Life Center. Phoenix Entrepreneur Magazine named them the top 15 med spa to watch in 2021. Life-changing solutions tailored to your goals. Check them out at www.newyoulifecenters.com or give them a call at 602-274-0068. Tell them that Moody and Groo sent you and receive a big 15% off your first service. Look, before we get to the whole Bruce thing, I did see the Chicago documentary, and I had seen bits and pieces of it before, so I just want to to give a little Chicago taste before we move on.
Yeah.
I didn't think that the documentary was a rip job to Peter Cetera. However, I can see where he would be upset about it. I mean, they did say some unpleasant things about him. They do paint him in some unpleasant shades of light. I didn't think it was a rip job. And again, the cousin of the keyboardist or whoever is, made the movie. I thought overall it was an enjoyable coverage of their career. I know that Cetera specifically talked about the documentary, fake news, blah, 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 blah. So I'll throw it to you as we wrap up Chicago, the podcast. Look, I could see already I could see the veins in his forehead.
No. I'm surprised about something.
Or something.
No. I'm surprised. I'm surprised about something. But first of all, I agree with you. It wasn't a rip job.
I said it wasn't.
It wasn't. They were just, all they said was that they didn't quite understand, why the animosity. They didn't understand.
No, they did not. No, they talked about he was getting himself in shape. He was becoming like a pretty boy, kind of painted him as a diva. He wanted the spotlight. He started making increasing demands behind the scenes for his songs, for more vocals, for tone down.
Didn't they kind of pin that on David Foster, though? A little bit.
I mean, I'm assuming that had something to do with it, but I know that they did reference that, and I know they talked about, increasing demands, demands.
Yeah, you're right.
Wanted this, wanted that.
But
was it a rip? I mean, these are sometimes how bands evolve and the front man evolve. So again, I've seen documentaries, like the Eagles, they rip Felder.
But they also gave him his due. They said he turned Chicago into a hit machine. But what I didn't hear you said, I've never heard Cetera even mention the documentary. Where is this?
We talked about no. We talked about it in the podcast.
We did.
His last comments per se on Chicago was look him up. He was not a fan of the documentary, and he called it fake news. He had a problem with the organ player or whoever the cousin produced a documentary. And
did he call it fake news because it was on CNN?
Perhaps.
Maybe.
Perhaps. I'm sorry. Is that what? Is that totally?
No, it's just no. It's just I didn't see that. I'm gonna look it up because I'm always interested in.
Wait, hold on, Groo. You didn't hear Don Lemon loved the documentary and said he loved it and it was completely 100% historically factual. And then he went, "Who's in Chicago?"
That's good. No, it's got nothing to do with that. It's I'm always fascinated by the former. I'll listen to anything Steve Perry has to say about Journey. I'll listen to anything Dennis DeYoung has to say about Styx. I'm fascinated by these stories and understanding why these people choose or are not working together. So I'm interested in seeing what Cetera said about it.
Yeah, I don't think he's really said much. I think he's really been focusing on
his day job at the car wash.
Yeah. So, all right, let's get to it because I want to wrap up this controversial topic, and I mean, some scabs may be ripped off the skin. So take a breath, and let's get to the email. Groo, Army Hammer deserves due process, but Bruce doesn't. Guy blew well under the legal limit, and I expect all charges will be dismissed. They were. He's had no past infractions of anything, and contrary to your statement, is not known to be a heavy drinker. Think maybe you were just trying to shock us by going anti-Bruce on this one. No need to call him a dick, a bit harsh. Now here's how we're going to do it. Okay. I'm going to throw it to you, and then I'm going to make my comments, and you're not going to yell over me, and because I've reviewed these comments very carefully and vetted them in the Moodatron 4000, and I will be coming up with my final statements. But I will throw it to my partner in crime, Andrew Gruthius. Your thoughts on the comments?
Okay, well, maybe heavy drinker might have been the wrong term, but definitely big time social drinker. I mean, we know that. We see.
I don't know that.
I do.
I don't know that.
I do.
As a matter of fact, if anything, I've seen in social media that he's an older guy and he's a health nut.
No, if you see the documentaries that he does from the Blood Brothers documentary to the Letter to You documentary, the Western Stars, all of it, you always see him taking shots and going into bars and sitting at bars. And there's nothing wrong with it. He's like the rest of us. I love that about him. He doesn't. He's not afraid to take a shot at tequila on camera. He's fine with that. But if you're gonna do that, don't do it on your fucking motorcycle in front of 100 people. And don't do it where you're not supposed to do it. It was kind of a maybe not a dick, but kind of a stupid move. But whatever. I don't think any less of him. But he's not free of my criticism if I think that what he did was silly. And I expected the charges to be dropped, and they were, and probably rightly so. What does that have to do with Army Hammer?
I think that we did an item for the week that was in which all these girls are coming out and said they dated Army Hammer.
Oh yeah. Well, because what I said was I said until there's evidence, it's all hearsay.
I had a joke lined up.
You did?
Took a nibble on somebody's shoulder.
All right, go ahead.
Took a little. He had his Ginsu knife and took a little slice of some girl's thigh. I mean, I guess what Craig was saying is you seem kind of soft on Army. Hey, he deserves due process, but you were very hard on Bruce. And you're an avowed Bruce Springsteen fan, so it seemed a little bit from the norm. Hold that thought for a second. Let me go to the next comment, and then I'm going to give you after you're done, I'm going to give you my thoughts.
Okay.
Groo, you're not his parent. Fact is, he tested below the legal limit. Again, says he'll be exonerated. It's a big nothing. The media has already forgotten this story. The man has no prior arrests, gives back to his community, raises a lot of money for charity. You can't give him a pass. Are you really disappointed in him because he broke a rule at a state park? I bet you've done a whole lot worse in your day. All right, I'll throw it to Andrew, and then I'm going to give you my thoughts. And then blah, 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 blah.
Wait, can you read? There was a middle part of that. Can you read it again?
The man has had no prior arrests, gives back to his community always, raises a lot of money for charity. You can't give him a pass. Are you really disappointed in him because he broke a rule at a state park? I bet you've done a whole lot worse in your day. Okay,
so if I wasn't going to give him a pass, then I would say, okay, I'm never going to see him in concert again. I'm not listening to the music again. I'm not a Bruce Springsteen fan anymore. That is the furthest thing from the truth. I cannot wait until we're back on in concerts and seeing Bruce again. Okay, as a parent. If you said no, I'm not his parent, but obviously, I was disappointed that he would do that. Okay, as a huge fan of his, as someone who admires him, looks up to him, and just follows everything he does. okay, and is super appreciative of everything he does that Craig mentioned. Absolutely. I was disappointed that he would do that he would do such a silly thing. Okay? That doesn't...
Hold on. I'm going to interject here.
Okay.
Because I don't think you framed it as silly, and I certainly don't think you framed... Silly connotates not very serious, brevity. I agree with Craig. You hit him pretty hard.
Yeah.
He deserved to get what he get.
Well, he didn't. We knew he wasn't going to get anything. He deserved to be called out on it.
Okay, so can I give you my thoughts?
Yeah. Please.
All right. Okay, so I'm going to give you my thoughts, and this will probably lead to another spirited debate. But I think there is something to be said on the comment about you trying to shock us. I don't know if you did it overtly, but I believe there's something to it, because when we spoke on the Thursday night before the show, we ran through our notes. You specifically said to me, are you going to cover Springsteen in the week that was? I said to you, yes, it's a major pop culture story. And then you said to me, I think you're going to be surprised by my take on it. Now, I took two things from that. Number one, I did think, wow, Groo's going to hit us with something somewhere in left field on his take with Springsteen. I didn't know which way you're going to go with it. But number two, and maybe I'm reading into this a little more, I thought, when you said you, meaning me, I think that you think I was going to be some kind of stark raving conservative guy who's going to go hang him up by his toenails and throw him in jail. The world is no safer in having Bruce Springsteen, or any celebrity for that matter, for most times, being put in jail. Like, even the lady who bribed to have the kid put in jail. It's wrong. You want her to pay fine. You want to print 1,000 articles about what an ass she is. That's fine. Is she a danger in society? No. So my take on is celebrities are citizens. They should be held accountable. Is the world a safer place because Bruce Springsteen is in jail because of a DWI? No, and it really wasn't a DWI. Should he be fined? Should he be? Sure. I don't have a problem with that. But you got into this whole weird territory with you made like it was political, and the police, and he should go after him. And I even said to you, is that the kind of society we want? Because I said maybe he was maybe because he was a celebrity, but I don't know if because he's some kind of liberal icon, did some effing state trooper go after him? Because they wanted wanted to have Bruce Springsteen in the headlines. And I even said to you, I don't want that kind of society. I don't want anybody to be targeted because of any political affiliation otherwise. There. Go.
Well, okay, and you're wrong about the phone call. Number one, you violated our non-disclosure agreement. No, I'm just.
There's no. Our phone. I go over the notes for the show.
I'm kidding. Jesus Christ.
Okay.
No, the phone call, because I figured you would be. I didn't make my stand. I didn't say what I said with the purpose to shock anyone. I said to you what I said because I was surprised at my own reaction to it, and I figured you would be too. And I bring you back. Now we're going back 20 years or 21 years.
Let me hear it.
When there was the American Skin, the 41 Shots controversy in New York. And I remember you and I had a similar debate about that. I had been to the shows, and I saw the song performed, and I saw the reactions, and I read the lyrics, and I did all of that. And I realized what the song actually was. And you were criticizing me privately for, you're such a Springsteen mark. He's wrong. You actually said, he's wrong. He's wrong. And I was like, no, you got to listen to it. You got to understand the whole thing. So it was like, the only reason I bring that up is because I really thought that you, in the spirit of our relationship, an hour debate kind of thing, that I'd be like, oh, it's no big deal, and you'd be like, oh, of course, such a, like, you just,
That'd be some truth. Hold on. But, let me make my position clear about American Skin.
Uh-oh, here we go.
No. I'm not going to. I don't want to go back to that, but I don't. Evan Moody today. I may not agree with the song. I love the song, as a matter of fact. Probably I'll criticize the fact that he's like, you can't clap or you can't sing along. He's got to do this whole, I'm fucking so serious, I don't want any noise in the crowd kind of thing. However, because I approve or disapprove of a political inclination in song, it's art. It should not be censored in any form. I am pro-police, but if a guy I didn't even take the song as really negative police. It was more about an experience in a community and their thoughts on the police and the reaction of some of the things in current events. But if I did say he was wrong, I was wrong.
I'm saying the same thing, because I did say, like, some of the words that I used were probably a little strong. It didn't reflect how I really felt about it. How I really felt about it, about the drinking thing, was that it was a stupid thing to do. And then
what was a stupid thing to do?
What
was that stupid Jeep commercial? That was a stupid thing to do.
I'll agree with that too. I'll agree with that too.
And I'm sorry to any Springsteen fan listening. Biggest crass.
And you know what?
Commercial.
I'm going to agree with that. And now, although it was interesting that he's a rock and roll Hall of Famer who did a commercial that didn't even feature any of his music.
Please.
No, it's a little different. But in any case, you don't do a car commercial for the Super Bowl when you have a DWI pending.
It was, first of all, it was prior.
It was prior? Are you sure?
Yes. The filming was prior. I mean, they had it all set. Yes, and then the news came out of the DWI after the Super Bowl.
Right, but the actual drinking thing happened in November.
Okay, but it didn't break in the news until...
No, I know that, but what I'm saying is it really all depends on when that commercial was filmed.
No, Andy, I have a complete different take.
Okay.
And we could sit... I don't want to...
No, I agree. I agree with everything you said.
No, but I just want to say this, so it's on wax.
Okay.
Okay. So, for a guy who's made it a point to not sell out, I thought it had nothing to do with the DWI. The crash commercialism for an American car company that manufactures very little in America anymore, and to portray himself as this, Joe, middle America, everyman. You want to do that on a record, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. That's music. But to sit there and talk about the lower 48, he's a dude from New Jersey. He doesn't know anything about, Chickenshaw, Kansas, or wherever, and, talking about going to the middle. He's never gone into the middle of anything. He's the last guy to talk about being in the middle because he has a very strong point politically. He would never go into the middle. So I thought the whole thing was just a terrible. It just was just embarrassing.
I'm not on that. I'm not on that level about it.
Of course not.
I'm not on that level. I wasn't as deeply offended by it as you seem to be, but I thought it was unnecessary.
Yeah, big sellout, but I still love Bruce and looking forward to hopefully seeing him again. So, all right, all right, you ready to move on that?
Well, we're almost 90 minutes in, so you want to get to our topic?
All right, well, today's Nothing Worthwhile podcast, entitled Nothing Worthwhile, Top 5 Family Guy Episodes, is sponsored by New You Life Center. Phoenix Entrepreneur Magazine named him in the top 15 med spas to watch in 2021. Groo, no goal is too big. Well, maybe my belly is. No journey is too far. Check them out at www.newyoulifecenters.com or give them a call at 602-274-0068. Perhaps in future podcasts, I'll have some news about New You Life Center, some exciting news that's going on with Marie and Dr. Cynthia. So let's get to it, Andrew. Let's keep it 500 words or less. When I say Family Guy, you say what?
Hilarious, consistent, and just always, I don't know, just always funny. Just a great, you can never lose. You can never lose with Family Guy. Never lets you down.
I got wind of Family Guy, 20 or so years ago. I would hear kids at camp and hear kids at school talk about it, and that's really how I got introduced to it. And I remember the first time I watched it, I was stunned at just how dirty. Got away with it. I mean, I lost track with it maybe in the mid 2000s, and then with the advent of Hulu, I could binge watch on a Saturday or a Sunday, and really kind of fell in love. And I would say the last couple of years, they don't necessarily compare to maybe the early years, but the quality of the show, the writing to me has still remained pretty strong.
I agree 100%. Just the way, just very briefly, the way I got into it when I was living in LA. I had a roommate who was a district attorney in Long Beach, California, who every night, he'd come home and I'd hear him laughing his ass off in the other room. And one night I went in there. I said, "What the hell are you watching every night?" And he's like, "You've never seen Family Guy?" I said, "I'd never heard of it." So he just said, "All right, you got to watch this one episode." And it was the episode 15 Minutes of Shame. Do you remember that one?
Give me.
Well, I'm not going to say it's. Well, I already said it's not on my list, but it's the one where they inherit Lois's aunt's mansion in Newport, Rhode Island. So with all and it's no. I'm sorry, no, different one. 15 Minutes of Shame is when they go on the reality talk show. It's when they go on that's the one. So I watched that one, and and I just found it to be one of the funniest things I've ever seen, and that got me hooked. And like literally the next day, I bought all the DVDs. I bought it, and then so that's where it started for me. 15 Minutes of Shame.
Andrew, how do you want
has turned into 20 years of shame for me.
I'll repeat myself. Groo, how do you want to run this? I let you usually run our top fives. You want me to go first? You want to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1?
No, I think.
Explain to everyone how you want to do.
Yeah,
this.
So I'm gonna give my 5, okay, and then my honorable mentions.
I didn't even have an honorable.
Well, I just have a few written down, but I'm gonna give my 5, going through each one. Then Evan's gonna give his 5. And after each one that we give, we'll ask the other for comments. So I figured we'll just do our complete lists and then compare them. What do you think?
Ahead.
All right?
All right.
Okay, so I'm going 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So
Are you going to give us a little detail as to why you found it so
Yes,
funny?
Yeah. So, all right, my number 5 on this list, we picked our 5 favorite episodes of Family Guy. All right, not necessarily funniest, not just our favorites.
Oh,
so
please get to it. Really, funniest favorite. He always does this. I was thinking about this. I never know. He goes, "It's my favorite. It's my best, but not my funniest."
When we look up the difference in the thesaurus between favorite and best, best of Van Halen is not Van Halen's greatest hits.
All right, but what I did was I sat down on a notebook and I closed my eyes and said Family Guy, and like these 5 episodes came into my mind. Like I thought about the ones that have made me laugh the most consistently over the years.
Yes, and I'm 100%.
The most memorable that stuck in my mind.
100% with you on that. So my number 5.
Go ahead, give it to us, brother.
Okay, my number 5. Okay, from season number 9. This will be a little controversial. This is the one that I was telling you about. Was because of the one joke. Okay, so this is an episode called "It's a Trap." It's the third and final Star Wars episode that they did, the one based on Return of the Jedi. It was written by Cherry Chevrapadumrung Gong Fung and
I've seen that name.
And David Goodman. Seriously, that's
Ted Marks.
So yeah, those are the writers. The joke Okay, I'm going to go over a couple other things. So this is a straight-on parody of Return of the Jedi. I love the opening crawl where basically it's just Seth MacFarlane saying, look, this is going to suck, so don't expect anything. Like, even the FedEx guy got a joke, and he thinks the baby's name is Steve, not Stewie. So he's like, so he ends it with like, all right, here's Return of the Jedi starring Steve as Darth Vader. So already it's like, it's funny to me. Like, all of that was funny. I love when they how they introduce it. Like, the lights go out, and then they're all like, oh, and then Stewie's like, we're about to do Jedi, aren't we? Like, and Peter's like, let's just get through this. Like, it's such a chore to do it. It's just breaking the fourth wall like that. I love when the show does that. In a show that's filled with memorable jokes, okay, this one joke, still, every time I see it or even think about it, I have to laugh. And it's in the very beginning when Stewie Vader is getting off his shuttle, and you see them doing all the construction on the Death Star. Now, in like New York City, when you see these construction sites, you see these little poster advertisements of things. Like, there's like 20 of them in a row of the same thing. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So you see that. So you see this. It's like 5 different posters of the same thing, and it was called Tyler Perry's Meet the Calrissians, and it's got a picture of like Lando and his family, and I just saw that, and I just started laughing, like, because I just thought that was such an inventive, racist, and hilariously off-color joke, and it still makes me laugh.
Why is that racist?
Well, it's not. It's
like Tyler Perry movie.
It's not. I guess it's not. It's not racist. It's definitely. I don't know. There's like no difference between something. It's like there's no difference anymore. It's either racist or it's not racist. It's definitely stereotypical.
I'm asking your opinion. I mean, I think it's race humor.
Yeah, it's race humor, but now you can't even use. But you can't even use race humor now anymore.
One of my episodes has a lot of race humor in it, and it's borderline crass. But if it's funny, I love. All right.
Right. But anyway, so that's literally my favorite joke in all of Family Guy lore. There are some other great ones. I love. Consuelo, the housekeeper, in this one, she lets them into Jabba's palace, and they're just look, when they do these parodies, they really do it right. They don't phone it in, and this is another example of that. And a lot of people think that It's a Trap is the weakest of the 3, and it might be. But it's my favorite because of the reasons that I told you. Even the title is funny. Like, It's a Trap has a triple meaning. It's from the movie, but it's also like he describes in the opening crawl, like how they were forced to do this. Like he says in the opening titles, he's like, Fox said, if you don't do Return of the Jedi, we're not going to let you go direct the movie. So like, I think it's hilarious. So now I'm going to throw it to you to tell me what you think about this episode.
Well, look, I mean, it's hard because, with specifics, I will say this. I know that the Family Guy Star Wars parodies have been overall, I think, fairly well received by the fans. And while, it's hard for me to remember every single episode, I remember watching the Star Wars parodies and enjoying them fairly immensely. So I would say, off the top of my head, certainly sounds like a wonderful choice.
All right, good. So now I'm going to move on to my number 4 pick. My number 4 favorite episode of Family Guy ever is one of the Road to episodes.
Those are good.
Those are good, and this one is my favorite. From Season 8, it's called The Road to the Multiverse. Written by Wellesley Wild. You ever think they're making up some of these names? Wellesley Wild. This is when Stewie has like the time machine where they can go to any different kind of universe where, they go to a universe where dogs rule and humans are the dogs, and all different. And there's one where they go to, the funniest one to me is the one where they go to everybody's Disney, and so Peter is singing a song about pie. It's a wonderful day for pie, like in true Disney fashion. They're all drawn like Disney characters. And everything is happy-go-lucky, and then there's a knock on the door, and it's Mort, the character Mort, who comes in. He's like, "Did somebody say there's pie or something?" And then they all look at him with these dirty looks and go, "Jew." And then Stewie and Brian are like, "All right, let's get the hell out of here." I think that's a hilarious joke. Offensive as hell, and I love it. They go to that universe where like you got all like the male models, and Brian's like, hate it, and Stewie's like, love it, and then they get out of there immediately. I love the one where they see I forgot what the premise of the universe was, but Meg was like a street hooker. Like she's walking down the street and like Van Halen's Drop Dead Legs is playing, like and they're like, "Oh my God, she's hot!" So yeah, this Road to Multiverse is my fourth favorite. So I'd like to see what you think.
So that one I definitely know. I definitely have seen that one a ton of times. I like the Road to. They try to copy sort of the. The 50s and the 60s road movies.
Right. Hope and Crosby.
And I think that obviously those are, they really focusing on the Brian and Stewie relationship, which is sort of a fascinating one if you looked at it seriously. I will reference, the Disney Jew line, is really a classic, and the animation is great. And how they make, I think they make Mort almost look like a demon or like a dragon. So. And Family Guy definitely goes there. They've definitely referenced race humor and anti-Semitism many times throughout their years, and are not afraid to go there. And so, yes, excellent choice. Love that episode, and I definitely remember the Disney animation segment from that episode. It's definitely a classic.
All right, good. Yeah, great episode. All right, number three from season 7, and I just have to say, this surprised me. These already have surprised me because I'm more particular to the earlier episodes, like continuity-wise, but in thinking about which of the episodes that made me laugh the most of them are, so far, from later seasons. So this is from season 7, and there's really only one word that I have to say. Do you know what that word is?
Bird.
Yes, I Dream of Jesus from season 7, written by Brian Scully, where Peter finds Peter.
There at Scully's.
Yeah, Peter. They're in a diner and someone plays the Surf and Bird song by the Trashmen, and so he just goes around that whole and he goes looking for it. And he goes into a record store and finds Jesus Christ working in the record store. And that whole thing, just the novelty of the episode is the bird is the word thing. Every single time he does it makes me howl with laughter. And the reaction of the people around him. Like, and then there's Stewie and Brian when they're like killing when they're like breaking the record, like, but they're doing it like they're doing a mob hit. They're like shooting it with a bazooka, and like they have sunglasses on. They're doing it in slow motion, and every time it's like Peter's like, "Have you heard?" And Brian's like, "Heard what?" And Stewie's like, "No, Brian, don't!" Like just like all of that stuff.
I think they bleep out a curse. He goes, "Oh shh."
Yeah, oh, boop. He's like, "Brian, don't!" Like it's like, to me, this whole episode, it's so funny, and the stuff with Jesus is great. I mean, he goes on like the Tonight Show and like all to me this is my number 3. I Dream of Jesus from season 7. Evan, tell me what you're thinking.
Yeah, I mean, any Family Guy fan worth their salt knows the bird is the word, and what they do really well here is they take a joke. And Family Guy has done this several times. and they play it way too long, and they play it through almost to the point where it's ridiculous, and you're laughing, and then you're angry, but then you're laughing again that they've just stuck to it throughout the whole episode. They've done that several times.
Yeah,
I can remember, where Peter slips and falls, and ow, and he does it for like a full 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the bird is a word is a classic. They've referenced it in other episodes as well. His fascination with the song. So, the Jesus character, I could take it or leave it a little bit, but I mean, obviously that's a very well-known episode, I'm sure, amongst Family Guy circles.
Yeah. So, okay, number 2 from season 4. Okay, we're getting earlier now. Okay, this is, and we've spoken about this episode. This is an episode called PTV. This is written by Alec Sulkin and Wellesley Wild. Okay, we got a double shot of Wellesley. This is where Peter starts his own television network, and it's got a whole bunch of goodies from Quagmire's late night show where he's like naked and he sort of reminded me of the ladies' man Tim Meadows from Saturday Night Live. He's like, and tomorrow we'll be talking to Dr. Ruth about all things sex. Giggity, 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 gig. Something like that. And that was really funny. But to me, the novelty of this episode and the reason why it's my second favorite is because of the cold open and the opening title sequence. The cold open is Osama bin Laden filming a Death to America video, but he's doing it like somebody keeps yelling cut, and he's like doing it like sitcom bloopers. He's like, okay, listen, death to hey, what are you doing over there? Stop it! Stop making that noise! Stop it! And this goes on for like 5 minutes, and somebody throws like a rubber chicken, and to me that was hilarious. And then the opening, because then it's a parody of the Naked Gun. So Stewie comes in and he kills Osama bin Laden, and then he's driving his big wheel. And the Naked Gun music is playing, and he's like that whole thing, and just all the different places he's going is funny. And do you remember where he ends up? Where that sequence ends?
I believe, is it not in the Simpsons house?
Yep, it's in the Simpsons garage. He smashes right into Homer Simpson, and then the episode begins. And the episode itself is great. They have a great FCC song, and all that other stuff, but. Those two things are the ones that make this episode my second favorite. It's just, to me, it's a riot, absolute riot.
Yeah, I don't know the show as much, as you mentioned it, but I know that it's always very special when they do a different opening sequence. Because one of my episodes, it's not the traditional Family Guy opener,
right?
With them singing the song, it's different. So those episodes, and of course. Of course, the Naked Gun, that may have been the beginning or a continuation of several sort of Easter eggs with the Simpsons that led to the Simpsons guy crossover. So, the PTV, I do remember it. I do remember the Osama bin Laden. I just don't remember that episode as well as some of the other ones, but I'm sure I will watch it. And I'm sure I will be laughing my pimply ass off.
Yes, you will. All right, and finally, number 1. Speaking of slipping and falling, it is the episode that does indeed contain that scene that Evan was talking about before, when Peter is running home and slips and falls and goes, ah. He does it twice in the episode. And the name of that episode from season 2 is called Wasted Talent. And this episode was written by Mike Barker and Matt Weitzman, who coincidentally were my lacrosse teammates at Half Hollow Hills High School East. I'm just kidding. They just sound like kids who'd be on a lacrosse team. So this one was all about. You've definitely seen this one. This one was where it's it's the first half of the episode is the Willy Wonka parody where they're going to Pawtucket Pat and they go to the brewery and all the stuff that happens there, and then the scrolls, and then he gets completely drunk and Lois is trying to win the piano competition. against her competitor Alexis. And Peter, she realizes Peter can only play the piano when he's shit-faced. So she just keeps pouring beer down his throat, and he's playing so brilliantly, and it just shows you like the imagination that these people have. Like he plays like the theme from Dallas. He plays the theme from Mary Tyler Moore. Stewie sits there. He's like, "Oh, now play that sad walking away music from the Incredible Hulk." So he starts playing that, and then Stewie's sitting there like, "Hey, everyone, look at me, look at me, look at me!" And he's like pretending to hitchhike. And then the episode ends. The end credits are Stewie on the road, like just like David Banner at the end of all those things. And there were other lines. There was a line where Lois and her rival Alexis are both at the gynecologist, and Alexis is getting examined, and she's just sitting there yelling at Lois like, "Lois, you're never getting," and then she looks at the gynecologist. "Fred, this is not a date." Like as he's examining her, and then she's like, "Well, just like every time else, I finish first." And then Lois is like talking about something else that they. I don't remember a lot of these things, but do you remember the time when the woman drove her car up? Lois was walking on the street, and Alexis drives up. She gets out of the car. She takes a bucket of water from the car, throws it on the ground, then drives over the bucket of water just to splash Lois on the street. That's from this episode. And then the part with the slipping and falling, and the thing is when he finds the scroll. And they say, just like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, they're like, "Run home and don't stop till you get there." So Peter's running home, then he just slips and like, and then later on in the episode, when he gets kicked out of the factory and the Chumbawambas, remember, they're the Oompa Loompas, but they call them Chumbawambas. They're like Chumba, and then they just kick Peter, and he just goes. Then cut to commercial. So this is a wasted talent. Is my favorite episode of Family Guy ever.
Well, I would say this: any episode with Peter intoxicated is usually a really good one. The best episodes for me, they do such a great job. They'll always almost have an A story and a B story.
Yeah.
And sometimes the B story is even stronger than the A story. Or it'll start off with a story and then they'll completely transition it to the main story of the show. They do such a great job. And of course, I will never forget the Stewie sad walking to the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
That's definitely stuck in my mind. So can't argue with that choice. So what I want you to do is write down mine, and maybe we could post it on Nothing Worthwhile, like Groo's top 5 and Moody's top 5. Maybe.
I just want to throw out some episodes that almost made it.
Okay, because right now I don't believe I have any matching ones, so this will be good.
Okay. There are only a few. One is Road to Rhode Island. 15 Minutes of Shame, which we talked about. Peter Caviar Eater, which is the one where they inherit the mansion in Newport.
Right.
If I'm Dying, I'm Lying, that's where they go to the Make-A-Wish Foundation to get the Gumble to Gumble TV show back on. Petarded, where Peter comes in like 1 point below on the IQ scale, so he's like technically retarded. There's that one. Blue Harvest, which is the first Star Wars parody. And something Dark Side. I think both. That's the second one. So those are my honorable mentions. Didn't quite make it, but we're right there.
I love how he gives like another 15 episodes.
I gave a total of I don't know.
And season 1, season 3, season 7, and season no. All right. Well, I don't have any honorable mentions. So I'll give you my top 5. I will put this in order. I changed my order. I'll try to follow your same kind of deal where I'll give you the name, the season, and the episode, the writer. I think I have the writer for most of them, and I'll give you like why I love it. I'll give you some bullets on the episode. I won't go through it, cover to cover. So, similar to you, my number 5 is probably the single biggest sight gag and hysterical laugh that I've gotten from maybe a single Family Guy. It is season 8, episode 2. It's called Family Goy. G-O-Y.
Yeah.
And the opener is simply stunningly funny. If you like the first time I saw it, which Glenn Quagmire, while drinking at the bar, hears the term internet porn, and he doesn't know anything about computers, and he's such a sexed up guy.
Yeah.
And they say to him, "You don't know about internet porn?" And as the story progresses, Peter hasn't seen Quagmire for days, and then he finally comes out of his house. He's completely unshaven. He's completely out of it.
Yep.
And you see him. He turns and angles, and you can see his right hand is completely, his forearm is completely muscular, and he just says to Peter, I got to go, Peter.
Yeah. Like it's just not happening today.
And then the storyline starts off. It's just amazing what they do. Peter falls in love with a Kathy Ireland cutout, and which was
I remember that. Yeah.
left over at the Drunken Clam, and he sings Billy Ocean suddenly to the cutout. He ends up making love to it, and then he kills the Kathy Ireland cutout and buries it in the backyard. And then, of course, it goes into a whole thing about Lois goes to the doctor, and there's a lump of breast cancer. They have to do DNA testing, and she finds out that she's Jewish. And then Peter,
a very special episode of Family Guy.
He completely envelops himself in Judaism, and then his adopted father comes to him in an image at night, and then he becomes completely anti-Semitic. And,
Yep.
Mirth and merriment ensue. But that opening scene with Glenn Quagmire, I don't think I've ever laughed quite so hard in Family Guy. So, Andrew, it's Family Goy, Season 8, Episode 2. That's my number 5. Groo?
That's a great choice. I've seen it many times. That's what's tough about a lot of these episodes, because they have these moments that just knock us on our ass because they're so funny. And that doesn't mean that the rest of the episode is so classic, but that's what sells the episode, like to us. So yeah, this episode is so like. I guess when you have a cartoon, you can cross lines that you can't otherwise, and this is certainly an example of that. But yeah, that opening is I'm remembering like Quagmire just coming out of his house, and I remember the first time seeing it, just laughing and being like, yeah, I've been there. Wait, what? Hold on, wait, who?
Yeah, he's so out of it too. He can't even string a coherent sentence together. It's an amazing sight gag, and So that was my number 4 is similar. It's maybe the weakest one out of my list, but it always stuck in my mind because some of the amazing visuals, and there's an amazing line by Peter, and that is season 7, episode 13. It's entitled "Steroids." In this episode, Stewie gets into a fight with Joe's baby daughter Susie. They're like an afternoon barbecue, and so to toughen him up, Peter takes Stewie to a gym in which some strange athletic trainer offers Stewie a baby steroids. To which Peter says, "Yeah, no problem." And there's Stewie, muscular, and I remember Lois. She says something to him like, "You let him." Like a guy with a dirty needle, inject our baby, and he's like, "Yeah, why wouldn't I trust an athletic trainer at a nondescript gym?" Very, very funny. And then the real funny part is like they kind of mock bodybuilders because Stewie sort of bullies Brian throughout the whole. Like, he won't let him pass in the hallway. He's like, no, just kidding with you, like just totally fucking with him. And then they have a B story which is pretty good where. Connie D'Amico at high school picks Chris to elevate from the depths of nerdom, and then Chris actually becomes really, really popular, and they have a great parody of Buffalo Bill, the son.
Yes,
of the Lambs, video on the internet, and it's probably overall I would say the weakest one, but I remember, and then of course the ending Stewie becomes off steroids and his body's completely deflated. And the episode ends with him flying, with all his flaps of skin flying, outside the house. So a lot of great sight gags. Maybe the weakest one overall, but my number 4 is steroids.
Well, to me, the novelty of this episode is what you said. Just seeing when Stewie just bullies Brian, like just those little moments, like in the hallway, like to me that's the funniest stuff. From this episode. I'm not actually, I like this episode. I don't love it. I do like it mostly because of that. I don't like it when they get, I find it less funny when they really stretch reality. Even though it is a cartoon and everything is nutty, but like, I don't know. There's just something like
the road to episodes.
No, I mean. No, I mean like when they change their characters, like it's hard for me to explain. Like when Peter in I think season 1 or 2, it was an episode called "He's Too Sexy for His Fat." When he no, it wasn't that. It was like he had 3 wishes or something, and he wished he had no bones, and so then he was just like traveling around with just a big glop of Peter shit, like I don't know. I'm just, but this episode still is funny, but it's just not one of my favorites. But I do love the whole bullying thing. That to me, bullying is hilarious. Wait, did I just say that out loud?
Stewie and vice versa, they've bullied each other throughout the seasons.
Yeah.
Stewie and Brian definitely have a very unique relationship, and they've bullied each other from time to time, throughout the seasons. My number 3, probably my favorite ending, like knee slapping funny, is season 7, episode 8, Family Gay. And in this episode, I don't have the writer group, but you have Seth Rogen as a special, voice guest, and Meredith Baxter Burney as well. So on this episode, Peter buys a brain-damaged horse. It ends up dying, and he throws it through Mort Goldman's pharmacy. Causes thousands of dollars of damage. So to pay for it, he volunteers for like gene testing, and he gets a gene, like a medical drug that makes you gay, and it's just completely over the top. Every sort of gay stereotype, and Lois finally. It kind of is serious, like she lets him go and says, I want Peter to be happy and live his life. And the ending is probably one of my favorite endings. You come to see that the gene split will only last so long. And so Peter's with his lover, and he's going to have his biggest fantasy, which is a gay orgy. And you're outside the room, and you hear, oh yeah, and then you hear Peter go, what? Wait a second. What? Wait a second. What's going on? And he runs out with his clothes. And then the next scene, he's sitting on the couch with the family, and he's like, we will never speak of this again. That's like the whole ending. And, they kind of mock, gay conversion therapy, gay camp and things along the way. And then at the end of the episode, Mort throws the horse through the Griffin's, living room, yelling, take back your effing horse. So, it ends with a gay orgy in 11 way, in which Peter snaps out of it at midway. So that is my number 3. It is, again, season 7, episode 8, Family Gay.
You just said gay orgy. Yeah. You don't need anything more than that for these. But yeah, this is another great episode. There's really nothing that I can add that you didn't already say. It's hysterical, and it's grown on me. I've seen it probably 2 or 3 times. The first time I saw it, I said it's kind of like the same thing as that early episode, I Am Peter, Hear Me Roar, where he's getting in touch with his feminine side.
Yes.
Do you remember that one? It's kind of the similar in storyline, but
isn't that he goes to sensitivity training?
Yeah. But this, this one definitely goes in a different direction, and it's just as funny, if not funnier. And yeah, that ending is really funny.
My number 2 is probably, like, I would say this is a second parter, very, very creative stuff. It's season 3, episode 2. Hollywood.
Yes. Oh, thank God.
It leaves off with the thin white line.
Yes.
I mean, this is what got me into Family Guy. It's completely over the top, but so well written.
Oh.
The first episode, Brian is bored. He becomes a drug-sniffing dog and becomes hooked on drugs. So in this episode, he ends up going out to California to rehab, in which Peter totally destroys. And then Brian decides to stay in Hollywood. He's an aspiring writer, and he's going to stay in L.A. And of course, they make a couple of jokes about being an aspiring writer. Brian's a waiter, and he's trying to always leave a script with all the big shots. And then he becomes he works at a car wash, and I want to say Michael Eisner or somebody, and he goes, "Your car's been Brianized," and he leaves a script, and then he gets goofed on. But of course, what the real hilarity to me is he's about to leave, and he gets offered a job to direct a porno film, and he says no because he has the standards. Then a naked Jenna Jameson walks by, and he says, "Yeah, I'll do it." And I remember that the Griffin family goes out to see Brian, and he hasn't come clean about what he's doing. And they go on this set to visit Brian, and somebody remarks, "Will somebody fluff Tommy over here? He's got a windsock thing going." And I remember that line being just so amazingly funny. And then, of course, you have a B story where Stewie goes on. The kids say the darndest thing, and they kind of mock Bill Cosby and those kids shows where they say, "Your daddy is poo-poo face."
Big fat doo-doo head.
Yeah, and the episode ends with Brian actually winning, wins a Woody.
A Woody.
And they go to the porn awards, and it's a completely pixelated on the screen, like it's really like a penis or something. And at the end of the episode, Brian decides to go back, where you see the camera pans, and Peter has kidnapped Gemma Jameson on the plane, and he's got her gagged up, and he's taking her back back home. Just over the top, well written, a 2-parter. And Brian, like he's going to go find himself, and he's so intellectual and creative, yet he ends up directing porn. And I just thought it was really funny and probably the really creative stuff. So it always stuck with me, that episode and that line with the windsock tunnel and the fluffer. You just don't hear that on broadcast television. So that's my number 2, Groo. Season 3, episode 2. Brian Does Hollywood.
I'm so glad you chose that episode, because doesn't Samuel L. Jackson play like isn't he in it? Isn't he the producer?
Kind of mock that he's in every movie.
He's the producer. But this episode is so non-stop. Actually, both of them, both the Thin White Line and Brian Does Hollywood, both of them together.
Thin White Line is great as well. Very funny.
And it's tough for me to separate them because it is one linear storyline, but it is an absolute riot. And one of my favorite little moments is at the Woody Awards when they're presenting like best score, and you see like you have like John Williams for what you see him in the audience, he's like crossing his fingers. You see like Danny Elfman and like all like to me that novelty stuff is the funniest stuff to me, but like the stuff where he's with Joe, and he's looking in the mirror, he's got the cocaine under his nose, and he's like, "All right, I got him." Then he's like he's just all these jokes, and then in Brian Does Hollywood, when they do the intervention, and he starts roasting everybody, and then Stewie's like, "Oh, do me next, do me," and he brings home like the crack whore, and Lois. Yeah. Is like, "Do you want me to get you a rag to wipe the dry blood from your nose?" Like, just like all these little one-liners that go into this thing, man. Do we know who wrote this episode?
I that's the one I don't. I will say this: that also has the opener where it was like previously on Family Guy, and they have like
Yes.
I don't know which one.
Yeah, they're both blue wires. And then like all these tropes, and then all of a sudden, Brian's gone out to Hollywood to find himself. Damn, to see you day with all this, yeah. This is this is great, great choice.
My number one, straight up funny, stupid, probably no redeeming value, but it has, like, if like I said to Andy, if I sit back and just think Family Guy, many of the imagery will come to my head from this episode. My number one, and I'll be curious to hear your thoughts, is season 6, episode 8. It's McStroke, and it's really one of the most ridiculously great A storyline, B storyline. It's written by Wesley Wild. Peter is collecting Cleveland's mail while he's gone, as he calls it, black guy mail, and it's like Grape Soda Quarterly, so you got some race humor there. Yeah. And when he's looking at Cleveland's magazines, he discovers a fondness for mustaches, and they have this amazing bit where he grows a mustache, and he, like every kind of funny trope, as you would say, he starts wearing denim.
Yeah.
He wakes up and drinks coffee, and he smokes a cigarette while watching the sunrise.
Yeah.
There's even some references to men and homosexuality with mustaches, and he's like, Freddie Mercury's gay? And then my dad loves the scene where he goes to like a deli and he talks Italian, and it's like bada boop bada, and Brian's like, you don't know Italian just because you have a mustache, clearly. And the Italian guy speaks with him. My dad always loved that.
Yeah.
Scene. And they transition the storyline, Groo, where he walks by McBurger Town, and it's like a McDonald's, and it's in flames. The firemen say, quick, you got a mustache, help us out. And he's got the hose, and he runs in to save somebody, and his mustache burns off. Then you have he's so upset about losing his mustache that he tapes Brian to his upper lip. He walks around with Brian taped to his upper lip. And the guy from McBurger Town goes to thank him, and he says, like, you have unlimited carte blanche to eat burgers there all the time. So he goes with, I believe, Brian, and he eats 30 hamburgers, and he loses function on half his body, and he has a stroke. And the visual of a stroked out Peter is hilarious. It's not a slightly mean, but it's hilarious. And great line, which I love, where Lois says, how are things doing? And he says, better days, Lois. I've seen better days. And he walks out dragging his foot, and he goes in the car, and he's crashing into 1,000,001 different things. And he goes into a stem cell research plant, and within 5 minutes, he's back to normal. And now he wants to get revenge on McBurger Town, in which, Brian just says to him, you're the one who ate the burgers, and he's mad at McBurger Town. So he goes into the factory, and there he sees that the cows are genetically modified, and he meets one of the cows who could talk. That's voiced by the late great Ricardo Montalban.
Yeah. And
then they have a very creative scene where they realize Peter and Brian have broken into this with the cow area, and they chase him monkey style, where they play the song. Where do I have it? Monkeys, Pleasant Valley Sunday.
Yeah.
Different like rooms, and they look up and they run in, and now they're in the same room, and they're laughing, and then Brian's playing the drums, and finally they have a press conference in which the cow speaks. Again, Ricardo Montalban, and Mr. Cow thanks Peter for helping out all the salad-eating homosexuals. And then, of course, in the B story, Stewie bets Chris that he could be the most popular kid in school, and he goes in as Zach Sawyer, which is kind of a rip of like One Tree Hill, all those real serious like teen dramas where they show the two kids, and he's like, this moment where we're staring at this lake is the most serious thing. And they play like that real Paul the Cole music in the background.
Yeah.
There's some great lines there. Stewie, with Connie, they're going out as Zach Sawyer, and they go to Anal Point. They kind of describing to Brian Anal Point. He's like, well, it's hard to get in, but once you get in, you feel really good. And then Stewie says something like, I think I'd like to be the one that like gets entered, and Peter's like, no. Brian's like, no,
no kidding.
There, gay reference to Stewie, and of course, he gets naked, and Connie laughs at him because he has a little baby penis. And then at the very end, he walks into school and he says to Connie, "One last kiss." And she kisses him, and he takes off all his clothes, and then he yells to security, and Connie gets arrested for being a pedophile. And Stewie walks out naked out of school to Bob Dylan's Hurricane, which is sort of a great nod to classic rock. But the stroked out Peter is what wins it here for me. It's just a great visual. And I thought the whole mustache is so ridiculously funny. So anyway, that's my number one, McStroke, Andrew, season 6, episode 8.
Yeah, the only thing, this episode is definitely hilarious, but for me, there's just a little bit too much going on. It loses a little bit of the focus. There's like A, B, C, D storylines, so it's a little uneven. But as far as laughs per second, it's right up there with all the other ones. And yes, the sight of Peter and the way MacFarlane acts it, and the writing as having had a stroke is it's devastatingly mean and just as funny. But yeah, this one just, I don't know. There's an unevenness to it that doesn't age well for me, but it's still really, really funny, without a doubt.
Screw you. Screw you.
So, so that's so. Wait, let's recap your top 5.
Do you have it listed?
Yes, I wrote it down.
Go ahead, read them out.
All right, so you number 5, Family Goy. Number 4, Steroids. Number 3, Family Gay. Number 2, Brian Does Hollywood. And number 1, McStroke. And for me, my top 5, It's a Trap, followed by Road to the Multiverse, I Dream of Jesus, PTV, and Wasted Talent. So we're gonna put those. Lists.
Yeah, put them up. Maybe can we do like a?
We can do a poll.
I'd be curious. I'm curious if anyone read them and thought which one was a better list or funnier or something like that.
Yeah, we can do some. We could do some kind of poll. I wanted to ask you: are you familiar with the episode called Three Kings?
Yes, I mean I've definitely seen it, but it's been a while.
All right, I'll save it then, because there's some ridiculously funny stuff in that episode, but we'll save it. But yeah, we can we'll put our lists up. We'll put the seasons in which you can find them. So if you have that kind of time and you want to go in and check out these episodes before you decide which one of our lists you like the best, or maybe nobody who listens to our show actually watches Family Guy. But I don't think my brother does.
All right, look, this is where we get weak. Let's wrap it up. I don't want to end on a drizzle, but check out the poll. I think it would be interesting to see if a few people responded, see what they think about our list and which one is funnier.
Yes.
So that's it. Off we go, Andrew, for another time. Family Guy Top 5. So, Andrew, next week we'll be prepping for our visit for WrestleMania. But in the meantime, a certain Kaiju Monster Classic will be airing this Wednesday, March 31st on HBO Max. It's the king of the Kaiju, Godzilla vs. Kong. Andrew and I will give us our thoughts. We'll review the movie. We'll see what we think. If we liked it, we loved it. See if we differ. And then we'll touch upon some related MonsterVerse movies. Give us both of our thoughts. So, Andrew, next show, Godzilla vs. Kong. What do you think?
I'm looking forward to it. I haven't seen the last Godzilla. No, I saw the 2003 King Kong that Peter Jackson did, and I saw the 1998 Godzilla. But since then, I haven't seen any of these. So I'm actually looking forward to not only Godzilla vs. Kong, but I'm looking forward to seeing Kong Skull Island, which I heard was pretty good. There was another Godzilla at some point. Like there have been a few. So
there was Godzilla, King of the Monsters, and then Kong Skull Island. Here's my question to you. I do want to wrap it up, but I wanted to ask you, I don't remember you ever talking much about monster movies. I feel like you're not a fan, or not much of a fan. I mean, I definitely know what you seem to like. I've never really heard you much. Are you any kind of fan of that stuff?
I'm a fan. I'm not. I won't say I'm a fan of monster movies. I'm not a fan. If it's good, I like it. But for example, a lot of the monster movies lately, they turn into disaster movies. Like the old King Kong, like the old style King Kongs were basically just in this big giant thing running around New York City, and it was a much simpler story. So like just like with a lot of movies today, with the more like the what were you talking? Who's the guy now? What I just completely lost it.
We end, guys. We end on a whimper.
No. Who's the? Oh, Zack Snyder. Like you sort of, the story takes kind of a back seat to visuals and excitement and craziness, and that's kind of what the Godzilla, King Kong stuff is now. But that's why I'm looking forward. Maybe this will be a little bit different.
But I mean, that is got to be somewhat of the appeal of the movie. It is the massive special effects and
yeah. Well, we'll see. Hey, we'll see. I just remember liking the human story of King Kong. Like,
did you like King Kong 3, in which he tries to get out of the mafia and open up a legitimate business?
Yes, because of the reality. Yes, I like how they talk about ripped from the headlines. That's yeah, I'm looking forward to this one because I get to really catch up on things.
If you get a chance to see like Godzilla 2014 and Kong Skull Island, I definitely would be interested.
No, I'm going to watch them. I'm going to watch them.
Yeah. So I'll save my thoughts. All right, so next week, Godzilla versus Kong, and we'll touch upon the related MonsterVerse movies and a little bit of WrestleMania, I'm sure. Andrew, you want to take us out of here?
Indeed, Mr. Moody. It's been a pleasure as always. Next week, we'll be coming at you with Godzilla versus Kong.
Whoop!
Yeah, whoop, whoop. We'd like to thank everybody for coming out today. This by the time you hear this, you'll have realized that it's been posted. So we'll get a poll up there for you guys to chime in, all two of you, to chime in on what you think of our lists of Family Guy episodes. Do you have any of your own that you think should be in there? And please share them with us, and feel free to curse us out as usual, because we enjoy that. We thrive on that. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, from us to you, nothing worthwhile. 1, 2, 3. Rip 'em.